Welcome back. It's Melanie, your She Should Scrapper. So today I am back with a one-page layout using a sketch I came up with and the Teen Vibe Carson collection. I have these two photos here that I will be documenting. One of just my son and then one of him and my husband, who was one of his coaches this particular season. And one of my absolute favorite photos of both him and the two of them together as well. So I did mat those two photos together and left a little bit of white space in between the two photos. Just to give a little bit of a separation. I then wanted to kind of keep with the red and blue theme based on our school colors and cut the blue kind of plaid paper wide enough that it would show on either the top and the bottom. And then I have that going all the way across the page. Then I took the kind of gray sports paper to make it look like there is another paper layered behind it. I do kind of wish, looking at this right now, that I had made it a little bit longer. Not as long as the two photos, but definitely a little bit longer than what it is right now. I am then going to use the red polka dotted paper, which I absolutely love. I am everything red, white, and blue. I think it probably stems from the school colors. That where my kids go to school is where I grew up and went to school. And so, I don't know, I just love red, white, and blue. So I think that's part of why 4th of July is one of my favorites to scrapbook as well, because that's red, white, and blue. So I did dovetail both of those pieces, those red pieces. Then I decided to bring in the acetate. So I am still working with the same piece of acetate, still struggling to cut it. I think I'm just not pressing hard enough because the acetate always kind of moves while I cut it, and it's very frustrating. So you can see I did it off camera because I knew I needed kind of a hard cut. And with my tripod right on the table, I just did not want to shake the table. And so I did cut that off camera. And I think once I kind of press hard enough, it cuts a little bit better. So if you are kind of new to using acetate like I am and are getting frustrated, that would be my suggestion, is really kind of press hard to cut it. Another thing, and I don't remember if I did this during that cut or not, but start kind of in the middle of the paper, not on an end. That seems to help as well. It doesn't kind of pull, I think, is the issue. If you start in the middle, it doesn't do that pull. So I dovetailed both of those as well, which is great to make kind of layering pieces like this that make it look like it goes all the way down the page. Because if you just have scraps left over, I'm thinking that red paper was probably a piece of scrap paper. And so it's just really a good way to use them up when you don't have a full 12 by 12 length of paper, just to kind of make them layered. And it just helps use those up. So I have everything taped down. I'm going to go place my photos down and realize I need to figure out my title and kind of figure out if I have enough space. I think in my sketch I must have known that I wanted a title up top, kind of on that gray paper. And so I found this Show Up, Work Hard, and I just thought it was perfect for documenting football pictures. I think this might be his first ever football game. If I remember correctly, it might be his first actual game. So I don't know. I love these photos, and I love how he's on the tree and his facial expression. Just a couple of my favorites. So, yeah, so excited to have these documented. So when I started this layout, I only had the Teen Vibe Carson collection inside with me. And so I really tried to use pieces just from that collection to embellish the layout. I love the base of this layout. I will say I did struggle embellishing this one. I did not feel like I had enough options with the Teen Vibe Carson collection, because there are football embellishments, but maybe not big enough or enough. I've probably used some of them up already, so that doesn't help either. So I kind of have the lightning bolts and a few other stickers down on the bottom left, the hat and the lightning bolt kind of to the middle right over there. And I don't know, I really tried to add to them. I do have these star flares from Scrap and Happy Studio that I have been using for 4th of July, but again, these colors work so nice with this layout. So I did kind of add one to each of the ends, kind of at a diagonal of the title, and then kind of sit here and struggle a little bit. I do own so much of the Teen Vibe Carson collection, but like I said, I must have used up too much of the football embellishments already. So trying to spruce it up, I did add the scallop border sticker underneath the photos, which I love. I feel like it just brings that red kind of towards the middle a little bit as well. So really like that. I'm going to try to add another flare from Scrap and Happy Studio to the cluster on the right. Again, the pieces are just so small. Those both came off of the puffy, the puffy stickers, and I just did not feel like that embellishment cluster was large enough, or the bottom one either. Like I said, I just really struggled, and I think what I end up doing is actually walking away for the day, and then remember that I had bought, I believe at She Loves Color, the football embellishment pack from Bella Blvd. So there will be a time that this cuts off where I thought I was done with the layout, and I actually come back and add to it with football specific ephemera. So what I'm doing now, though, is I'm using a tag from the ephemera pack, and I actually just traced kind of where the cutout is and then the angle of the tags, and I cut them in different pattern papers. So just trying to bring more, one, color, but two, larger pieces to the right-hand side of that page. And I'm cutting a second tag just to kind of layer that with it as well. Again, these are probably scrap pieces. So another good way to use those, because you don't need a lot. And I always struggle with cutting my own tags. I do have dies, but sometimes I just get too lazy, to be quite honest, and want to cut my own. And so having one in the pack already made it really easy to kind of make my own that way. I did go ahead and add two of the puffy stars to the cutouts of those tags to bring some more color. But now here is where I bring in the embellishments from the Bella Blvd football ephemera pack. And this just works so much better. They're just larger pieces and more specific. So I try to kind of incorporate the pieces that I already had on there, but add bigger pieces to the embellishment clusters. So I am going to try to use that football on the bottom left, that helmet on the top right, and I am going to end up adding the Scrap and Happy Studio flare to the helmet, which I think is really cute. Maybe a little large, but I think it just looks really cute there. So with the helmet, I thought it was too large maybe on the bottom. I didn't like how it was pointed outward. So at the moment I have the helmet on the bottom, but I am going to actually end up switching that to the far right and kind of removing the cleat there. Just trying to kind of play around with the pieces that I already had on the layout. by trying to add at least the lightning bolts back on the pages, but I was really struggling with that too. Just the way that the helmet opened up, I just didn't feel like I could get anything layered under it and have it look good. Yeah, still kind of struggling with, I mean, I committed to the cleat, but that cleat is moving. That is not going to stay there. So I'm still going through the embellishment pack, really trying to kind of figure out what to use and decide that the helmet would look best on the right hand side looking in. There is that little black star that says All Star, and so I do keep that there, and then move the cleat, actually change the cleat out so the cleat looks in with that football there, and then try and add that lightning bolt back in. And I think I do end up doing that, and then adding the cleat there, and just having those larger embellishments, I feel like just helps the layout so much more. The others were just too small for the layout, I felt like, especially with having such a large title. It really needed larger embellishment clusters to kind of maybe even out the layout a little bit. So just trying to add now the puffy stars to the clusters to finish it off. But that is going to finish this layout off. Don't be afraid to walk away and come back, because you might come back and add to it and like it a lot more. So that's kind of what the case with this layout. I will link the Teen Vibe collection down below if you're interested. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.